Hello, welcome back to What Even Is Life with Brandon Owens. I am your host, Brandon Owens, and this is a podcast where we get to talk about pretty much anything, like what's on your mind, shower thoughts, just something you don't usually talk about. So today I am here with a friend of a boyfriend, and here's Rudy. Hello, Rudy.
Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. So today's topic is called Mirror Talk, Facing Yourself, where we're basically going to dive into the looking glass self and why we see ourselves, how we see ourselves, how other people perceive us, or whatever. This was a topic that we wanted to talk about. Can you explain why?
Yeah, I feel like we look at each other differently. We look at ourselves differently than how other people perceive us. We all share a different version of ourselves when we're with different groups of people. Like, say, you show a different side of yourself in front of your mom, or you show a different side of yourself in front of a friend,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a significant other. You're, they see that little piece of you, but not the full you.
Right. And do you think environment, like who you're around, like affects like who you are as a person? Because I think so.
Yeah, definitely. The environment in which you grow up, that that impacts your life on such a personal level because a lot of people can grow up with the same problems that you have, and so that's already that kind of that kind of builds off into a relation to a friendship.
Yeah, because obviously how I talk to my mom is completely different than how I talk to my friends,
Hmm.
how I would talk to my employer, just how I would talk to anybody. It kind of is based off of who you're around. For me, it's out of respect of who I'm around and the comfort level I am with the person I'm with, because sometimes you want that person to only see a specific side of you. You don't want them to see all sides of you because of where you're around, and I think like that ties into like how you see yourself.
Hmm. I can definitely see that being comfortable around people too. That can definitely affect on how you show yourself too, like how you like present yourself, and that's how people can form their opinions of you.
Yeah, and honestly, because when we first saw each other, you didn't say a word to me because we
Yeah.
didn't really know each other like that, and it took you coming around more times and me seeing you more, and I think we definitely are getting used to each other. I mean, we're doing a podcast episode,
Mhm.
so we're
So I feel like we gotten pretty used to each other.
I think we do as well, and I think that's really important with like how we see each other. Like, how would you see me right now?
I would honestly see you as a good hard worker. You put in a lot of effort. I say you're pretty joyful, flamboyant.
I'll take it.
You'll take it.
And I know you're hardworking as well. You work so much. You put a lot of time into everything you do, and I think that's really important. And I'm happy that that's the version of yourself you want to put out in the world because I think you should put your best foot forward out there every single time,
Of course.
but also like not be afraid of showing your imperfections. I love an imperfect person. I love someone who thinks they're perfect, kind of get knocked down and realize that imperfections make you a better person.
Hmm.
And it kind of ties back to just how do we look at ourselves after our first reaction? Like when you stare into the mirror, what exactly do you see? Like,
Well, I personally, I don't. I try to not look at myself inside the mirror. I don't really like looking at my reflection. So in the mornings, I won't like turn on the light or anything. I'll shower completely in the dark.
mm,
I mean, I've gotten used to it, but it's just gotten to that point where I just don't like seeing myself in the mirror.
that's fair. I mean, growing up like plus size, big, like I hated looking at myself. I always hated like looking in the mirror as well. I was never this confident. I was never this happy either, especially with my environment. I grew up in a very toxic environment school wise. I had to kind of build myself up a lot, and it took a lot of crying, a lot of like getting used to myself. And on this podcast, I love sharing my personal experiences because it kind of makes the topic even more deeper, and it kind of makes the people I'm with comfortable with sharing their stories as well. And it took such a long time for me to look at myself in the mirror and love what I see and kind of take my personality and make it bigger and bigger each time because I used to be quiet. I was such a big crybaby. Like everything just made me sad, you know?
Mhm.
And it took me switching schools for me to finally realize, okay, the world doesn't actually suck. I actually am safe, I'm happy, and that's the kind of personality I want to give to other people.
Yeah. Like for I didn't really start to come out of my social shell until I was probably, I want to say probably halfway through middle school when I met a few of my friends who I'm still friends with today. And like, it just feels so weird because it took me so long to find people that I was actually comfortable with.
Mm,
And then obviously, when I met my girlfriend, that just made me express a more vulnerable side of me that I don't really, show to hardly anyone.
hmm
So I guess showing a vulnerability kind of helps you bring out, your who you are fully.
right. And I always just tie it back to code switching as well.
Hmm.
And for those who don't know what code switching is, it's kind of like switching how you talk, how you act around the kind of people you are. And I feel like growing up black, you kind of have to put on a certain face, a certain persona, a certain energy into the world. And it gets very exhausting after a really long time.
Hmm.
And growing up in a predominantly black elementary school, middle school like area, I felt like it was kind of hard being myself. So I kind of had to not look in the mirror and kind of look at the world for what they wanted to look at me as instead of how I wanted to look at myself for a while. I feel like I kind of had to put on a front to people, and
Yeah.
it was very exhausting. So when I started to show bits and pieces of myself to the world wasn't that inviting. They weren't really nice and very frustrating. It took years and years to finally be able to look right in that mirror and be like, okay, I'm cool with what's there and just walk out. So,
Hmm. I fully agree with what you said about like growing up like in your neighborhood and like having to put on like a certain face because growing up in a relatively low income neighborhood, you gotta.
right.
It's almost a part of you to like act a certain way, even
hmm
though you don't necessarily agree with that certain way. It
Right.
feels pressured and it feels like it's, forced upon you that you didn't want it in the first place.
Right.
And you kind of just thrust into it. And you can't really show what you actually enjoy or else you get picked on and you get knocked down for it,
Yeah.
which is stupid.
I feel like a big part of my life as well is comparing myself to other people.
Yeah.
It's affected me last year with my first year of college. It's affected me forever. Like switching to my new school back in seventh grade, I was around a completely different type of people, like more expensive, more richer, more social. I was so not used to that. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like for a long time, I was trying to fit into that group of people, and I was never happy. It really took me to COVID, my sophomore year, to finally realize it's okay to be yourself, but comparing myself has been a problem I have for a long time. Like last year, I majored in music. That's how I met my friend Debbie, and that's how I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something I thought I wanted to do because I grew up loving to sing, loving to perform. I thought that was my segue into going into music school. But I was around so many talented and wonderful future musicians who just knew their music theory, who knew oral skills, ear training, like they had it down pat. And I didn't know a thing. I had major imposter syndrome. I felt like I didn't belong there. And I just kept trying to convince myself more and more like I got in the program, I deserve to be here. But then when I finally realized that, okay, maybe this is not my passion, maybe learning music isn't for me, changing my major was so, it hurt me badly because I was leaving my friends, I was leaving everything I once knew,
Mm-hmm.
and it made me think, am I making the right decision? But changing my major was such a big like turnaround for me. It made me realize that how comparing other people, it may have like faulted me, but it made me see much better for myself. You get me?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, talk about a time where you compared yourself to anyone or if you have.
Well, I usually compare myself a lot of the times to my boxing teammates. A lot of the times I see some of them win tournaments, and I just envy it. I just want the same success that they have. So I just try my hardest and I just work until I physically get sick and until I can't move my arms anymore. And I still feel that I'm not good enough sort of thing just always bringing you down.
Understandable. And are you taking any drastic measures to realize that you're good with the type of person you are? Do you still feel like you compare yourself to them?
I still do, but I do it in a more healthy approach. Like when they set a certain like standard, I want to meet that standard and sort of surpass it.
Hmm.
It just serves as motivation for me to keep on going and to just continuously get better because I never feel like I'm fully satisfied with myself. I always hunt for more, I
Hmm.
guess. I always like to, I guess, push that extra like 2 or 3 feet and then I'll take a break.
I'm glad that you realize like healthy competition is great because it's good to get in that mindset because
The
when you're like
competitive feel is,
making you feel sick because you're upset, that's not a great way
no,
to be.
it's not healthy whatsoever.
Yeah. And I guess for me, it's like when I was comparing myself to other music students, I had the most approach of, I'm talented as well. Like, why am I not performing as well as others? But then I realized the people in that field, they know what they're doing. I
Hmm.
had no idea what I was doing.
They had the years of
They had
experience.
years of experience. Like when I told you I was on autopilot, I was just trying my best last year. And it kind of ties back to giving myself grace. It was a topic I was talking about last time with like making connections, like
Hmm.
giving myself grace and realizing, okay, maybe it wasn't your time and you can turn it around and find something else that's perfect for you. And also, it kind of ties into another topic I want to bring up. Hold on, let me pull it up here. It was how are you perceived by other people? I know we talked about it, but I want you to talk about how you like give your perspective to specific kind of people, like how you are with Debbie or how you are with like your parents. Like, how's that like for you?
Well, around my parents, I'm a bit more quiet and reserved, but that's just the type of relationship that me and my parents kind of have with one another. With Debbie, it's a little bit different because with her, I can be a bit more open, I can be a bit more expressive on my emotions, be more just open in general.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison with my mom, not really so much. Me and her, we haven't really had the best relationships. And funny enough, it's usually the reverse where people have like a bad relationship or a tense relationship with their dad and a really good one with their mom. For me, it's the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have more fond memories with my dad than I do with my mom. And I grew up in a split household, so I would constantly hear both of them fight over the phone over
Mm-hmm.
visitation rights for me.
Yeah.
So that also affected me mentally and sort of physically.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes back to the environmental part of our discussion,
So do you feel like you can be more open with your dad as well, or is it still reserved like
I
with
can
your
be
mom?
I can be open with my dad on certain topics, probably not on the more sensitive ones. But my mom, on the other hand, probably not. I usually As is, my mom and I, we hardly talk as is. We'll probably have like a little talk, probably once every like 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But opposed to my dad, I'll talk to him every few days or so.
Okay. And do you think growing up and like seeing things differently, like after graduating high school, like do you start looking at life differently?
Definitely. After I graduated high school, I kind of just reality kind of set in for me, realizing that every moment I have can be spent doing something more productive, something bigger, have more ambition, have more of a drive and hunger to move forward. And I guess the lack of me putting forth that effort, because I just felt like I haven't been pushing as far as I should be, even though I know I have been.
Mhm.
I feel like I could just do a little bit more. So it's short. It's just sort of that falling short feeling that I have.
I understand because, I don't have a car, I don't have my license, so I feel like my life is moving very slowly right now. But I need to realize I'm adulting in different ways. I'm trying my hardest. Like I am living on my own in college and I'm figuring myself out. And I think that's the absolute most important thing when moving into college because I
Mm-hmm.
was scared. I was leaving life once how I knew it before trying something different. But mind you, my school isn't that far from home. But it's the principal, y'all. It's the
Yeah.
principal. And just, I feel like I was losing a lot of time in college trying to lose that experience. My brain didn't really process the fact that this is only my first year. Speaking as of last year, it was only my first year of college. Like, I feel like I got kind of wasted a lot of my time already, but I never gave my brain a break. I always felt like I had to keep moving. I hated taking breaks. I hated time stopping. It needed
Yeah.
to keep moving on. I needed to keep doing something. And that definitely affected me a lot when realizing school is hard.
It
Schoolwork is
is.
hard. I'm constantly tired, constantly stressed. There was a time I didn't eat for several hours. It was actually during my symphony course rehearsal. Um, I was very nauseous. I was seeing like four things at once. Um, but with being a music major, I was very determined to get through the day. But no, I had a major headache and I had to leave and go home. And I was very disappointed in myself because I couldn't get through the day. But then I'm like, Brandon, you haven't eaten in like 6 or 7 hours. Are you good? Yeah, after that day, I was like, okay, honor my body because your body will tell you
Mm-hmm.
if something's wrong with it.
I remember one time in practice, I got punched in the face, and I didn't realize I was bleeding from both of my nostrils. I was just trying my best to just ignore it. So I definitely feel you on the letting your body heal, because your mind is one thing, your body, it can only go so far before
Hmm.
it actually gives out.
Right.
So to sometimes accidentally push yourself too far that you make yourself sick, it's happened too many times.
Hmm.
Like for me, it's happened too many times. I'm not too sure how many times it's happened to you.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah. I
But
mean, it's happened quite a bit. When I was younger, I hated the thought of not doing anything. I always had to do something every day, something different. I
mm-hmm,
had a lot of commitments, but the problem is that the commitments are actually commitmenting. Like they expect you to be at these places because that's what you signed up for. That's
mm-hmm,
you're kind of like duh, that's how it works. But when I was little, I was like, oh, something to do, yay! But then they expect you to do that thing time and time again,
over and over again.
right? And I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. I kind of want to be a kid, and I never honored like taking breaks. It ties back to my first episode, The Art of Boredom. I talked about how when I was younger, taking breaks was the absolute worst thing on earth. Being bored was the worst thing on earth. But as I got older, I appreciated it more and more, and how much it's like helped with my anxiety because I overthink a lot, but I've learned to kind of deconstruct from that and realize it's okay to take breaks.
Yeah, I understand the overthinking. Overthinking tends to get well, it tends to catch up to me pretty quickly.
Hmm.
I think it's because of my anxiety that I begin to second guess myself a lot, and then I just end up fumbling and tripping over myself, and I end up making stupid mistakes that I know I shouldn't do,
Hmm.
and it just makes you put yourself down even further.
Understandable. So I know I briefly talked about the looking glass self, but I'm gonna give you a great definition of the looking glass self theory. So, according to Google, the looking glass self is a social psychological concept introduced by Charles Horton Cooley, which states that a person's self grows out of society's interpersonal interactions and the perceptions of others. And in other words, people learn about themselves through the social interactions with others and use their interactions to build their self-image. So I'm gonna ask you something.
Okay.
Hmm. How would you describe yourself?
I guess it would be in
Like one word.
normal.
And why do you say that?
Well, I tend to not see anything special about me, but I'm not too sure what someone else might see.
I was gonna say, like, does your friends or your peers, would they call you normal?
I don't think they would call me normal, but I just view myself as typical and
How do you think
normal.
your friends see you?
I think uh, I think they see me hopefully in a positive light. I would hope so.
I was saying because it ties back to like how you see yourself, how other people see you, how people see you that you don't recognize. Like, do you think that you put up a front for people or no? Do you think you're authentic all the time?
Some people I'll put up a little front, but most of the time I'll be genuine and I'll be authentic with you. I'll just keep it a buck and just tell you how I feel at heart.
Because you know, there's like the front stage and the backstage. The front stage is what are you putting on for people. The
Hmm.
backstage is kind of like who are you behind closed doors, you
Yeah.
know. But like to yourself or to your interpersonal people, like is that different? But I think we've made it clear that it is kind of different because of who you are, and it is okay to kind of put yourself in certain put your perspective in certain situations, certain people.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I would love to be authentic to, not authentic, but just like myself towards
Genuine.
genuine to everybody I know. But it's kind of hard when it's not the energy that's being put out there.
Yeah. I mean, I have a pretty calm, mellow energy, so I can just kind of ride the wave on just wherever.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's kind of frustrating because I like to think of myself as very charismatic and
Hmm.
very positive, but the problem is certain environments I'm in, it kind of doesn't feel like that. So now people are probably going to see me as someone who's always negative or always just angry or sad, but in reality, like that's not the kind of person I am.
Yeah.
It's the situation that I'm in.
It's
It's
it's just the environment.
right. So it really does tie back to like your environment does kind of change your perspective.
It does. And it's kind of like the weather in the sense, like kind of feel a bit more drowsy, a bit more tired when it's like cloudy, but like to some people, they'll go out and they'll feel just fine.
Right? Like it really does depend on the person as well too.
It does.
Because I enjoy the rain,
Me
but
too.
only when I'm like inside, safe, away, and in bed, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, this we had this big snow a storm, and I was just sitting on my porch. I was enjoying myself. I seen other people; they were just inside their house. I was having fun outside.
Yeah. I don't know, it's like the art of perception is very unique. Like how you see things and how other people see things, it's very different. Like you can both like we're both looking at this McDonald's bag, right?
Yeah.
And we probably are thinking probably the same, but just pretend we're thinking different things about this bag. Like you see OU very differently than how I see OU. You probably see it as a place where you visit Debbie and
Hmm.
just like get to spend time with her. Well, this is my place of institution where I study, where I gain my knowledge and experience. Like we both have very different perceptions, but we both love OU in very different ways, you know.
Yeah. I
And
like how this school gives people the opportunities that they deserve.
right. And I think getting the chance to kind of reopen up this podcast again and getting to talk with cool, amazing people. Like I never thought. Oh, and thank you guys so much for the reception for the last episode. I really appreciate it. I want to get back into doing podcasts. This is something I love doing, and I just love talking and getting to know people. That's one of my things about myself. Like one of the things I want people to see me as is personable. I want someone to come up to me. We can just sit down and have a deep conversation with
Hmm.
no issue because I love getting to know people's stories, people's perspectives, and just people's lives. That's what I love to do. And I think a podcast kind of gives you that platform to,
It's just open and just it's open for your heart to spill at its content.
right? And it doesn't matter who's listening
Yeah.
because clearly they're listening for a reason, right?
Yeah. I mean, they listen to it this long. Might as well just say it for the full thing.
Right? Honestly, like, I want to keep going with podcasts. No shade. Like, you have to come back
It's
more
fun.
times. I love it. Also love these little mics I have too. It's super cool.
These are nice little mics. I don't want to accidentally touch and mess up
Please
the
don't touch
audio.
it. Please don't touch it.
I don't know how fragile they are.
Honestly, I don't know either, but they're working. I hope. But honestly, I think we'll close the podcast here. Rudy, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.
Yeah, no
It was
problem.
great getting to talk to you, get to know you more, and just get to know you about perspective. Well, this is What Even Is Life with me, Brandon Owens. I am your host, Brandon, and I'm signing out.